Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Train Station. As always, I am your host, A Train, and with the NFL season right around the corner, I wanted to give my NFL predictions just to see how possibly wrong I could be this year. I tend to do this every year, and a lot of the times I'm end up being super wrong. So, I'm gonna give you my regular season. I've already filled out the regular season, and then I'm going to fill out the playoffs as you guys are watching this video. I know there's been a bit of a delay. For those of you that haven't, please check out my last video with my good streamer friend Melanie. It's a can't miss interview. She's a fantastic interview. It's a great conversation. Um, I also have an interview out there with one of my college buddies, Tyler, a YouTuber named Caleb, and I also have a good streamer friend of mine, Kelly slash Girly, also on the show. Please go check those out. It would mean the world to me to go back and check those out if you would. But yeah, let's jump. I might make a lot of people mad with this one, and that's completely okay. Um, my records will be here on the side. I might have to scroll down a little bit to get to the rest, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Starting off in the AFC West, by far, with all the offseason additions to all the teams, by far the best division in football, without a doubt. I fully believe all four teams will make the playoffs. I have the Broncos winning the division at 12-5. I've got the Chiefs and Chargers both going 11-6, both going 3-3 in the division. So maybe their seeding can change depending on how it goes. And then I have the Las Vegas Raiders going 9-8 with 2-4 in their division. Going down to the AFC North. Not a particularly strong division this year, especially with Deshaun Watson missing 11 games for Cleveland. So I have the Bengals repeating. I've got the Baltimore Ravens going 9-8, but just barely missing out on the playoffs. Something similar happened last year with that. They could sneak in over the Raiders, which I would not be surprised if that does happen. But I could very much, see that happening. So you could maybe flip-flop the Raiders and the Ravens, but for the sake of this, I have the Raiders over the Ravens. Pittsburgh, I think they're in a rebuild mode. Mike Tomlin is a good coach, though, and they've never been under 500 with him as head coach, but I think this is the first year that happens. I've got the Browns going 6-11. Deshaun Watson misses 11 games. Most of the wins I have for them happen after he returns week 12 against the Texans. So I have most of their wins coming late in the year, but I have them picking up a couple here and there scattered. The AFC East could go any way. I think the Bills are still on top of that division. 11-6 is more than fair, especially because they play the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins 6 times. So I have them losing 2 games. I think I have them losing once to the Jets and once to the Patriots, I believe it is. So I still think they steamroll that division and win. The Dolphins 9-8, just missing out on the playoffs, kind of like the Baltimore Ravens. I think the addition of Tyreek Hill is very, 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 very good for the Dolphins. Arguably a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Depends. That's why I have the Raiders also making it. They added Devontae Adams, who will just help Derek Carr and help that offense get over the hump. So for the Dolphins, I think it's going to really depend on which Tua Tagovailoa shows up. Does the Tua Tagovailoa that we know that can ball out show up, or are we going to get the Tua Tagovailoa that can't throw a 5-yard pass show up? So it's really, for the Dolphins, it's really going to depend on Tua Tagovailoa. He has plenty of help. He has Jalen Waddle. He's got Tyreek Hill. He's got plenty of help on the outside, so that shouldn't be an issue. The Patriots. I had no idea what to do with the Patriots. We know Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time, but they could be 6-11, they could be 8-8 or 8-9, they could be 9-8, they could be 11-6. I didn't really know where to put the Patriots. I really struggled with this one. Unfortunately, I think I have them taking a step back from a year ago. I think Mac Jones regresses. I've never been high on Mac Jones. And so, yeah, for that reason, because I'm not a big fan of Mac Jones, I have them taking a tiny step back. They will miss the playoffs again post Brady. The Jets show a little bit of improvement with Zach Wilson and a very, very, very good draft class, but I don't think it's there yet. I still think they're a few years out, and this record reflects it. They get better, but I have them being very terrible in the division. So, with that being said, them being terrible in the division, you know, it is what it is. Now let's move down to the AFC South. Matt Ryan, a great addition for the Colts, but it's a very lackluster division. It's a division that's completely up for grabs. I do have them winning the division over the Tennessee Titans simply because I think the Titans are going to be very patient with Malik Willis, and they're not going to start him right away, and Ryan Tannehill will be behind center again, and that's going to lead to a disaster for the Titans. They will finish 7-10, will not make the playoffs. Insert the Colts into the playoffs. They got rid of Carson Wentz, which seemed to be a big issue, losing to the Jags last year with the playoff spot on the line. That will not happen under Matt Ryan. They will make the playoffs. Slight improvement for the Jags, who had the number one pick a year ago. The Texans finished with one of the worst records in the league. Let's be honest. They're not a good football team. They have a lot of picks from the Deshaun Watson trade. They have a lot of picks for the future, but I don't think Davis Mills is the answer at quarterback. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's the answer. So it's really going to depend on what kind of step they can take as a team. I think they're still a step under the Jags, though, who have vastly improved from a year ago. I think Trevor Lawrence will step up for the Jags, and they will show improvement. Moving over to the NFC now. This is where I think I will shock a lot of people. I've got the Packers, obviously being the 1 seed at 14-3. Yes, Aaron Rodgers lost Devontae Adams, but there's a reason he's back-to-back MVP. He can throw me out there and he will do just fine. So he's got a lot of young, talented receivers out there, and I think he'll do just fine. I have Minnesota going 9-8 and making the playoffs. I think this Minnesota team is very, very underrated, and I think if they get into the playoffs, which we will talk about later, I think they can make some noise. Kirk Cousins is being paid $40 million. I expect Kirk Cousins to play like a $40 million quarterback, therefore leading to the Vikings' success into the postseason. I have the Bears and Lions both finishing 7-10. That would be a step up for both teams. I think the Lions are headed in the right direction. I think the Bears are also headed in the right direction. As far as that goes for them, I have the Lions going 1-5 in division play. I have the Bears going 3-3 in division play. It's typical Lions to beat teams on the schedule that they're not supposed to beat. So I have the Lions beating the Cowboys, teams like the Patriots, the Cowboys, the Eagles, teams that they're not supposed to beat just because that's who the Lions have always been. And in the division, when you expect them to beat a team like the Bears or the Vikings or the Packers, they just don't. Because that's just typical Lions, is they will always beat a team they're not supposed to beat and lose to the teams they are supposed to beat. So for that reason alone, I have the Lions taking a step in the right direction, the Bears taking a step in the right direction, but ultimately both of them missing the playoffs. The Vikings are in. That's the NFC North. Let's move to the NFC South. Tampa Bay should roll the division. I have them losing a lot of division games, though. They will be fine with the rest of their schedule. I have the Saints beating them twice. I believe I have Atlanta beating them once and Carolina beating them once. Most of all of their divisions, all of their losses I have in their division. I think they will go outside of the division. I think they'll go probably 11-0 outside of the division. They play the Rams, they play the Packers. I think they'll win. I believe they play the Bills as well. I have them winning all of their games outside of the division, which seems highly unlikely, but it's always tough in the division to think who's going to win, who's not. The Saints. a bit of a rebuild, as much as they don't want to admit. For the Saints, it's a bit of a rebuild. The Falcons take a step in the right direction, going 8-9. I think at some point, Marcus Mariota finally getting the opportunity will do very well in that Atlanta system. Carolina with Baker, their quarterback situation is an absolute mess. Baker Mayfield, solid quarterback, but is he the right fit in Carolina? Sam Darnold hasn't worked out. PJ Walker hasn't worked out. So, it's like, what do they have to do? They have to find a quarterback. And if Baker Mayfield's that guy, great. They might do better than 6-11. If he's not, they'll probably finish 6-11. How healthy will Christian McCaffrey be is also another thing for Carolina. If Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, I think they have a real shot, but I'm not banking on Christian McCaffrey to stay healthy, which is why I have them going 6-11. I just don't think that Christian McCaffrey and the health of that team, plus the quarterback play, will be enough to get them over the hump. So yeah, moving on to before Seattle traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos, which I didn't really mention. Seattle, I have as the worst team in the NFL, simply because they traded Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos, which the Denver Broncos then have the 1 seed out in the AFC. The Seattle Seahawks have Geno Smith and Drew Lock at quarterback. On top of that, their roster is really not that great. They're sort of in a rebuild. So Seattle I have as the worst team in the league. Other than that, which was before they traded away Russell Wilson, was the best division in football. They are now the second best division in football. I've got the defending Super Bowl champion Rams, the Niners, and the Cardinals all making the playoffs. The Rams winning the division at 12-5. But San Francisco right behind them at 11-6, and Cardinals at 10-7. I think Cardinals could very well go 7-10 and miss the playoffs, and a team like the Saints or the Falcons could slide in to the playoffs, or maybe even a team like the Washington Commanders or the Cowboys, which I'll get to in a minute, could slide into that position. I think it's a big year as far as Arizona goes for Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. I think if they start to struggle, there's been a lot of drama in the offseason with them. If they struggle, Cliff Kingsbury could be gone. Kyler Murray might possibly be gone. So there's a lot of things going on in Arizona, but I just think talent-wise they have it. How are they going to do without DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games due to performance-enhancing drugs? So there's a lot of question marks surrounding the Cardinals, but I think there's enough talent there that they'll be able to win some games with a sort of favorable schedule. Now I know Cowboys fans are going to hate me for this, but let's move to the NFC East or the NFC East. I've got the Eagles winning the division at 10-6, a very much improved team from a year ago. I think Jalen Hurts takes the step in the next direction. I think Jalen Hurts takes that step in the next direction for them so that they are able to go and win the division at 10-6. I've got the Cowboys going 7-9. Now, you might think that it's just because I'm a Cowboy hater. I actually have them going good. Actually, I have them missing a game. One moment. I only have them 16 instead of 17 games. Which game did I miss for the Cowboys? Oh, I have them missing a game against the Eagles, which I'll have them winning. So both of them only had 16 games played. They now have 17. I'll give them the game against the Eagles at the end because the Eagles will probably rest their starters, knowing that they're already good in the playoffs. So the Cowboys will go 8-9. The Eagles will go 10-7, win the division at 10-7. And then you have the Washington at 7-10 and the Giants at 6-11. A very, very mediocre division in football. Like I said, though, I expect Jalen Hurts and company to make the next step. They drafted really well. They picked up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints, which will be a big help to that secondary to go with Darius Slay and company. The Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott hasn't shown up. If Zeke can show to me this year that he is going to be the Zeke of old before he got his money, then I think the Cowboys could win more than 8 games. That offensive line also isn't what it used to be. They just recently signed 40-year-old Jason Peters to help on the offensive line. So the Cowboys are struggling offensive line-wise. Dak Prescott will do enough to win you games, but I don't trust the offensive line. The defense is still shaky. Um, Yeah, they have Diggs, but Diggs also gives up a lot of yards. Yes, he gets a lot of picks, but like I said, he also gives up a lot of yards. So, what's going to happen there? I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I don't, like I said, I don't trust the Cowboys' offensive line, and I don't trust Ezekiel Elliott to be Zeke of old. Their wide receiver core is also sketchy outside of CeeDee Lamb, but in a very favorable division, I have the Cowboys winning half of their games in the division, which is more than pretty much every team in that division. I have the division kind of battling it out, but I think they'll beat the Giants twice. I think they'll beat the Eagles once. I think they'll beat Washington once, and then they'll lose to Eagles once and Washington once. They're 4-2 in the division. Very favorable division for them. This could very easily, turn around, and because of the NFC East being the worst division in football, very easily could turn around. Cowboys could be 10-7, Eagles could be 8-9, which would be a step in the right direction for the Eagles. But like I said, I think the Eagles have done enough to give themselves a opportunity in the playoffs. So my playoffs in the AFC, as we look at the playoffs here in just a moment. So we're gonna move straight into the playoffs. Let me move my big old head a little bit. So in the first round of the playoffs, we have the 1 seed Broncos and the 1 seed Packers getting a bye. So we have the Colts and the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bills, the Bengals, and the Raiders. And then on the NFC, we got the Bucks and the Vikings, the Rams and the Cardinals, and the Eagles and the 49ers. Now, I have been saying a hot take for many, many years, or not years, but for many, many months, that I do not have an AFC West team making the Super Bowl. That means the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders. I have none of them in the Super Bowl. I've been saying that, but my predictions might just be changing because of the way that things have worked out. So let me go ahead and give you my playoff predictions. I think the Chiefs will beat the Colts. I think the Bills will beat the Chargers. I think the Chargers are typically known for choking. Justin Herbert versus Josh Allen is going to be one heck of a battle. And then the Bengals will beat the Raiders. In the NFC, I think this is where I really want to, because Minnesota is in a terrible spot. If Minnesota was a 6 seed, I think I'd have Minnesota over LA. But I think Tom Brady and company beats Minnesota. LA will beat the Cardinals, and the Niners will beat the Eagles. So I have both 5 seeds winning, both 3 seeds, and both 2 seeds winning. Who knows what will happen? Usually we'll get an upset, so maybe we get the Chargers over the Bills. That's very possible as well. But I'm going to go with the Bills over the Chargers. I'm actually going to change. I'm going to go the Colts over the Chiefs. I think the Colts, in the end, if they get there, I think Matt Ryan will do enough. I'm not sold on Kansas City's defense. So that's what we're going to go with. So now let's go to the divisional round. As you see, we have a rematch of last year's divisional round between the Niners and the Packers. And then we got the Rams and the Bucks. Also a repeat of last year. And then in the AFC, we got the Bills and the Bengals, the Broncos and the Colts. In the NFC, we see a lot of just repetition. But I think as Stafford sent Brady home last year, I think Brady sent Stafford home this year. I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't choke this year and gets it done. But watch out for the 49ers, a dark horse Super Bowl contender. Very much so. And then over here, I'm going to go with the Bills over the Bengals in a close one. And I'm going to go with the Broncos over the Colts. So now moving to the conference championships. In the NFC Championship, I got Brady versus Rodgers, which we've been dying to see for years and never gotten it. Hopefully this is finally the year we get it. And then I got the Bills and the Broncos. Like I said, I don't have an AFC South team in, or an AFC West team in the Super Bowl. However, I think the Broncos will beat the Bills and make the Super Bowl. And then I got Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. And then that is our Super Bowl matchup. Is the Broncos versus the Bucks. I think the NFL is going to rig it for Tom Brady to get one more before he rides into the sunset and retires for good. That is my NFL predictions this year. Let me know what you guys think. Please comment down below what you think I got right, what you guys think I got wrong. What are yours compared to mine? Very interested to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below, or comment, hit me up on social media in the links below to let me know what you think. I'm very curious to know what you guys think, but I think the NFL has it rigged out for Tom Brady to win one more, much like Peyton did his final year in the league. Much like much like all those guys that had 1 year left that had a really good team that were right over the hump. I think the NFL is going to rig it for Brady to win one more before he walks into the sunset. Hopefully I'm wrong. Obviously everybody who knows me knows I'm a Brady hater, so hopefully I'm wrong. But that is all I got for you guys today. Please make sure to go out there and support, all my other videos. Like I said, still got some things going on. I have a green screen I'm still trying to set up. I got a wall over here, as you can see a few of the photos, but I still got a wall over here that I'm working on that I really want to show off once it's completed, and things like that. We got things to talk about. Things are happening, and a lot of sports going on, and big news in sports going on, so I will be back hopefully next week. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, make sure to tune into the next one. That's all. Peace.